So we have seen what is a Python value, variable, expression, statements, conversion, all these things. Now we are moving on to something called the Python operators. So operator is used to perform operations on variables and values. What are the different kinds of operators? We have arithmetic, assignment, comparison, logical, identity, membership and bitwise operators. We'll see them in detail. Okay. So arithmetic operators, this is a very common kind of operators that we use in our daily maths. So first initial one is minus a, which is a unary operation. Then you have exponential, that is raised to. It is denoted in Python using double star. Okay, so if you want to write 5 raised to 2, 5 raised to 2, then you have to write 5 double star 2. Okay, so that is exponential. Then you have multiplication, division, and there is another operator that you see that is called the integer division, quotient, or floor division. All these three is the same name of the same operator. So how this works is that for if you are giving, for example, 5 divided by 2, Python will give you a float value 2.5. Okay, so what I want is I just want the integer part of this particular division. For that, I have a special operator in Python called the float division or integer division or quotient, which gives me answer 2. Okay, so here the floating point, the part of decimal part is discarded. Okay, so that is called the integer division. Now, if you're giving negative values, for example, if you're giving minus 5 divided by 2, then you'll get, Python will give you answer minus 2.5. Minus 5 quotient 2 will give you minus 3. So you'll be wondering why it is minus 3. So as I said, this is a floor division. So what is a floor function? So floor function is nothing but if the answer is 2.5 and you're giving floor, which means that it will give you answer 2. Okay, if you are having a floor of say 2.3 also, the floor is 2. Okay, now if you are giving a negative value, what will happen when you're giving a negative value? So if it is a floor of minus 2.5, this means that it is minus 3. Why? Because minus 3 is a smaller value than minus 2.5. Okay, so the floor of minus 2.5 is minus 3. That is the reason why when you are giving 5 quotient 2, you will get minus 3. Okay, so that I hope you understand that operator. Then you have something called the modeless or the remainder. Now let's see how that works. If you're giving 5 modeless 2, what will happen is that it will give you 1. How? So if you're simply dividing 5, then you will have remainder 1. So this is returned. So if you want the remainder, then you have to use modeless. If you want the quotient or integer division or floor division, you should go for double slash. Okay, the rest of the operators are very simple. I hope you know those things. I don't have to explain. Okay, now in this expression, you can see division by 0 will cause you an error. Okay, now moving on, we have to see what is the precedence and associativity. So to understand associativity, first you should know what is precedence. So this is a precedence chart in Python. I hope you are very familiar with the BODMAS rule. While evaluating an expression, you'll use the BODMAS rule in a normal max, right? Similarly, we have a precedence chart that you should use for Python. Okay, so here you can see the highest precedence is for exponential. Then you have unary positive, unary negative, bitwise negation, etc. Unary means there is only one operator in this particular operation. Okay, then you have multiplication, division, floor division, modeless. All these things have the same precedence. Then addition, subtraction, likewise. So we have left shift, right shift, bitwise and XOR, or all these things I'll explain what are these operators, but understand this is a precedence order. So which has the lowest precedence is Boolean OR. Okay, so this is a precedence. So this actually defines the order of evaluation. If you are given an expression based on this precedence chart with the highest order, we should start with the highest precedent operator. Okay, so what is associativity here? So associativity means that if an expression contains operators of same precedence, if there is plus and minus, then what you have to do? Which will you take first to evaluate? For that we have associativity. So in Python we'll go from left to right. Okay, so that is for almost all the operators except two. Which are the two operators that has a difference? That is exponential and assignment operators. For exponential and assignment operation, you should have the associativity from right to left, and for all other operators in Python you have the associativity from left to right. Okay, so to understand this, I'm going to the previous slide. So consider the first expression, 5 plus 3 star 2. Okay, so here which operation has the highest precedence? Obviously it is the multiplication. So you have to do 3 star 2 first, and then you have to add it with 5. Okay, so we will get the answer 11. Now if you want to change the order of evaluation, what you can do is you can add a bracket or a parenthesis. So by adding a bracket, what you'll do is that you'll do the operation that is inside the bracket first. Okay, so here it is the same expression with a bracket. So here 5 plus 3 is done first, rather than going for star, which is multiplication, which has a higher precedence. Addition is done first because it is enclosed in a bracket. So you can see the value is different, right? So based on the order of evaluation, the value also changes. Similarly, consider this one. So you have 2 star 3 star star 2. So we know the exponential value has a greater precedence. So what you'll do? You'll do first the raised to function. So 3 star star 2 is done first, and then you'll go for the multiplication. Likewise. So associativity is when you have same precedence. That is, for example, you have 5 plus 3 minus 2, then you have to go from left to right. Okay, except for which two operation? For the exponential and assignment operators. For example, here you can see 2 star star 3 star star 2. This is exponential. So in this expression we have two operators of the same precedence. You have to go from right to left for exponential. So you'll start like this. From here you'll go like this. Okay, for all other operators you have to go from left to right. You have to remember this because this is very important in evaluating an expression. The value will change based on the order of evaluation. Okay, I hope you understand what is associativity and precedence. Now in Python we have something called the mixed mode arithmetics. So what is mixed mode arithmetics is that in an expression you will have different types of data. For example, a floating point and an integer. So here you can see that is 3.14 star 3 star star 2. Here 3.14 is a floating point, 3 and 2 are integers. It is written in a single expression. This is possible in Python, and whenever this is written, what happens is that here the less general type integer is temporarily and automatically converted into a more general type float. Okay, so integer is converted into float, and hence the expression is evaluated, and then you'll get an output in as floating point. Okay, now we are moving on to the assignment operators. So in the languages that you have studied before, you know there is something called x plus plus or x minus minus, all these operators. So these are unary operations, and this thing is not there in Python. So this is not allowed in Python. So rather than writing this, how can you do it? So we have assignment operators for that, where you'll write x plus equal to 1, which simply means x is equal to x plus 1, which is exactly same as x plus plus. Okay, so rather than writing x plus plus, what you have to write? X plus equal to 1. Likewise, you can write all the operators that you know, that is x minus equal to 1, or simply shift operators like x double shift equal to 1. So all these things are there. Okay, so all these operators are called the assignment operators. Okay, so plus equal to, minus equal to, star equal to, double slash equal to, as I said, shift equal to, this can be done. Okay, now we have comparison operators. For comparison operators, which is, I don't have to explain, you have equal to, not equal to, greater than, etc. So when you are writing, like if you have x equal to 5, y equal to 3, print x equal to y, you will get a boolean value, that is, you will get either true or false. Okay, then you have Python logical operators. So I hope you have heard what is an AND, or, not. Okay, so for AND, it is that if there is a statement like this, okay, and if the statement is true for x less than 5 and it is true for x less than 10, that is, if x is equal to, say, 4. Okay, so if x is 4, then x is less than 5 and x is less than 10, then it will return true. Okay, now here or means that either of the statement has to be true. Okay, so say x is equal to, say, 4 again. So considering this condition, you can say x is less than 5, which is true, but x is less than 4 is actually false. Why? Because x is equal to 4, so it is not less than 4. So here only one statement is true, but still it will return true. For or to return true, either of the statement should be true, and for and to return true, both the statement has to be true. Okay, now what is not? Not means that for this x is equal to 5, that means x is less than 5 and x is less than 10, which gives you true, and then what you have done, you have not, that is, you have a not operator, which actually reverses the polarity of your return statement. That is, here if it is true, then you will get answer false. Okay, it simply reverses the result. Okay, now we have shift operators. What a shift operators actually does is that if you are writing like x is equal to 7 and x equal to x left shift 1, and I am saying print x, the output will be 5. The reason for this is that this is actually converted into its binary value, that is 110. Okay, so you have 3 positions, right? And the leftmost bit is shifted, that is, this particular bit is shifted. So now 1 0, the leftmost bit is actually shifted, and the 1 came here and the 0 came here, and this last bit is replaced with 0. So now this is nothing but 5. Okay, that is how shift works. If I am writing 110 and I am giving for a right shift 1, what happens? I will have 0 1 1, right, which is the output will be 3. If I am going for right shift, what will happen? This will come here, this will come here, and the last will be 0. So 0 1 1, it will be 3. That is shift operators. Operations on string. This we have actually seen before. So I have 2 string here, banana and nut bread, and when I am giving like a plus operator in the middle, what it will do? It will do the concatenation. Okay, the output will be like this. Okay, now when I am using a star operator, it will do the repetition. That is, banana is repeated 3 times. Star 3. Okay, integer and string operation. Now multi-line comments. For Python, if the string is not actually associated with a variable, then Python consider it as a comment. Okay, so here this particular string is not associated with any variable. I have not given like a is equal to this whole string, no. So if it is not associated with a variable, it is considered as a comment. So for writing multi-line comments, what you'll do, you'll use triple quotes and write whatever you have to write. Okay. So we have seen what are the operators and operations in Python. Now moving on to Python user input and output. Okay, so how do you take input into Python? By using a function. And in the earlier version of Python, that is Python 2.x, at that time we used a function called row input. Okay, whatever input that is received by this function, it is a of type string. Okay, so this is as similar as in Python 3.x, you're using the function input rather than row input. You're using input to get input from the keyboard or whichever input device you're having. So input is a function, and then what you'll do, you'll write in quotes whatever you want to display on the screen. So here enter the string after, so this is how it will be displayed, and I have entered this from the keyboard. And then what I'm doing, I'm trying to type the type of this value. So here you can see it is class string. Okay, and then I have printed the value itself, it is Python 3. Okay, another example, here value 2, I have I'm saying enter a number is input, but here you can see when I'm printing the type of value 2, it is of string type. Even if it looks like a number, the type of that particular thing, whatever you have inputted from your input device, the type of this value will be always string. Okay, then what you have to do, you have to convert it using your type conversion, another function. So here I am using int function to convert it from a string variable, a string value to a integer value. So after this conversion, when I am saying print the type, it prints integer, then I am simply printing the value, that is 87. Okay, always the value that you are getting will be string, then you have to convert it into whichever type you want. If it is int, you should use int of, or if it is float, you should use float of. Okay, likewise. Now output we are doing using a print statement. So this is a very simple print statement. This print function actually has 4 parameters. Okay, in this only this particular parameters is usually used, where you will simply write like print hello, how are you. Okay, so this is the first parameter. Okay, so it will print hello, how are you. Okay, then you have other parameters like separator. So what does a separator do is that if you are giving a separator, so here you can see I have given a separator 3 hyphens, right. So what happens between these two strings, there is a separator. Okay, by default it is a space. Okay, other than space, if I want something other than space, then I have to give as sep is equal to, and I have to give the separator. Okay, so the second one is separator. Now end you can give some of this like a slash n or slash t, etc. Slash t will give you a tab, slash n will go to the new line. Such things are given in this particular parameter. And a file or file equal to file. Here it means that there is another parameter which says file, that is usually it is the computer screen. Okay, other than computer screen, if you want to print this statement into some file, you have to store it in a file, then you can give the file name here. That is also possible. Now all these things, separator, end, file and flush, all these things are actually optional, but this is mandate. Okay, this is mandate. Flush is optional, is a boolean specifying if the output is flush or buffered. So print has all these parameters. All these 4 parameters are actually optional, it's not necessary at all. So object is what should be displayed. Separator is the separation between the two. If you have two strings or two whatever you have to print, the separator between these two things is called the separator. Usually it is, by default it is space. Now end, where you can give a slash n or slash t, etc. Then file, it is by default it is a computer screen. If you want to write it into a file, you can specify it here. Then flush, it says if it is flushed or if it is buffered. So that is usually by default buffered. Okay, so all this in 5 parameters, 4 are optional. Okay, so I hope you understood this and this. Now here you can see x is equal to apple, banana and cherry, which is actually a tuple, and then I said print x. So you may be thinking, what is the difference between this and this? So here this is a tuple, this is inside the print statement. When it is inside the print statement, this comma actually says there are two strings, and that's it. But here in a tuple, this as such will be printed. Okay, the reason for that you'll understand when you study what is a tuple. Okay, so I hope you understood how the print statement works. So now we are moving on to our first program. Write a program to print the sum of two numbers. So what I'm doing, I want enter the first number, enter the second number, then I have to convert it into int, right? So that is given here. Then x is equal to x plus y, and print sum is comma z. So this would be the output. First number is given, second number is given, the output sum is print. Okay. Another example, print, write a program to print the area of a circle. So what you need for printing an area of a circle? You need a radius. It should be converted into integer value. Then you are saying a is equal to 3.14 into r star r. Okay, then print area of circle comma this variable, that is a, then you will get this. So I hope this is a very simple program. That is the first program, adding two numbers. This is to find the area of a circle. Okay.